The next Toy Story movie is going to be one of Pixar's most impressive films yet. But do you know the craziest theories about the future of the toys? The villain. A lot of people think the antagonist of this movie will be Lily Pad, but what if in reality it's Buzz Lightyear? Okay, let's calm down because that sounds completely crazy, but it's not as impossible as you might think. The truth is that Buzz, just like Woody, stopped being the favorite toy as soon as the toys left Andy's hands and went to Bonnie. In other words, he was replaced. On top of that, his best friend Woody left to live alongside his girlfriend and left him behind with the others. Buzz was one of Andy's favorite toys, but Andy moved on. Bonnie doesn't play with him nearly as much, and Buzz's best friend is no longer by his side. So the astronaut may be feeling lonely, and maybe he wants to leave Bonnie behind and find another child, a boy who actually loves playing with astronauts. Could this mean Buzz will come up with a plan alongside Lily Pad and Smarty Pants to take the toys to another child he likes better? It sounds pretty bizarre, but it's possible.
You already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting.
Andy. Still talking about Buzz's past. Who here misses Andy, the first owner of the toys we came to know? Fans have wanted to see Andy return to the Toy Story franchise for a very long time, but there's one big problem. Andy is no longer a kid, and that's exactly why he gave the toys to Bonnie in the first place. Even so, most of us assumed Andy would keep the toys and eventually pass them on to his own children. If you combine that with the fact that Buzz probably doesn't want to stay with Bonnie anymore, we get the theory that Andy Davis will return, take his toys back, and give them to his children. That would be a huge change for the story. Andy was an incredibly caring kid who genuinely loved his toys. Everyone would love to see something like that on the big screen. Would you like to see something like that? It would definitely be fun. Actually, it could turn out to be one of the worst things that could happen in this movie, and we're about to explain why. Cruelty. Do you remember Emily? She was Jesse's very first owner many years ago, and we're bringing her up for a very disturbing reason. You're probably wondering what that has to do with Andy returning, and it has everything to do with it. At the end of Toy Story 3, Andy gave the toys to Bonnie because he had grown up and no longer wanted them. If Andy comes back, he'll be just like Emily, who abandoned Jesse. Andy's return could be terrible because he would be a completely different person from the one the toys remember. A grown man with work responsibilities who no longer cares about his old toys. And the worst part is this: Andy may see toys as little more than junk because this movie seems set to show technology as the new love of children. In his eyes, toys are disposable because fun itself never disappears. Don't believe it? Let us show you how that could happen. Andy could be the creator of Lily Pad because toys need a child's imagination to come alive, but Lily Pad doesn't. Andy gave the toys to Bonnie because he no longer found joy in playing with them, but technology is entertaining for everyone, including adults. Do you see what we mean? If Andy really is Lily Pad's creator, then he finally created a toy that stays fun forever. Does that make sense to you? The truth. Toy Story has always played with the reality of our world, and this time the story will focus on children who no longer play with toys because they've fallen in love with something new: technology. Many years ago, children used toys as their main source of entertainment. There were no video games, computers, or smartphones. But nowadays, kids are far more interested in devices like Lily Pad than almost anything else. That's why many fans believe there's no way the toys can win their battle against the movie's villain, unless someone saves them, and that person would be Bonnie. Our theory is that Bonnie will discover the truth about the toys and realize that they're alive. If that happens, Bonnie will understand the danger the toys are facing and keep them forever instead of throwing them away, which is something Andy almost did. But there's a problem. Bonnie may discover the truth, but who says other children will discover it too? Bonnie's toys might be saved, but the others would still be in danger. What do you think? Would you give up your toys? Comment #toy so we can get to know you. A couple in trouble. Have you noticed that every Toy Story 5 trailer released so far has shown a serious problem between Woody and Bo Peep? At the end of Toy Story 4, Woody chose to live alongside the love of his life, but now Woody is back together with his friends. And that's a problem because Bo Peep isn't by Woody's side after he returns to Bonnie's house. In other words, there's a very real chance that the couple broke up because Woody had to leave. And that's heartbreaking because Sheriff Woody always loved that toy, but he had to help his friends. Everyone knows how loyal Woody is to the toys that once belonged to Andy, but if they really broke up, then their love story is over, and Woody could end up very unhappy by the end of the movie. What do you think about that? Buzz and Jessie. But there's still another possible future for the toy couples in this movie. Woody may simply help his friends defeat Lily Pad and then return to his girlfriend. But what about Buzz and Jessie? There's a strong chance that they may decide to leave forever as well, and the reason is simple. Jessie was abandoned years ago by Emily and later by Andy. Bonnie is now her third kid, and Bonnie is growing up. Maybe Jessie is simply tired of watching children grow older and leave their toys behind. On top of that, as we already explained, Buzz no longer enjoys being Bonnie's toy because she prefers spending time with other things. And all all of his closest friends have left. So this movie could end with Jesse and Buzz leaving alongside Woody and Bo Peep. What do you think about that? Forky, another strong Toy Story 5 theory that could happen. In fact, we'd say it's almost guaranteed to happen, is the end of Forky's life. Yes, it's very possible, and we're going to prove it. Forky has been Bonnie's favorite toy up until now. He only came into existence because Bonnie created him during a school craft project and loved him from day one. Toy Story 4 made it clear that a child's love is what gives toys life, but Bonnie loves Lily Pad now. That's why it's important to think about this theory. Bonnie is a girl who no longer loves toys. She only loves technology now. Because of that, it's very likely that the toy who was brought to life through her love could lose that life. And of course, this is a very difficult theory to accept right now, but the movie is almost here, and that's why it's so important for everyone to prepare themselves to say goodbye to Forky.
Zurg. What if this is all part of an evil plan by Zurg? Do you think that's unlikely to happen?
Of course not. In fact, it makes perfect sense. You probably remember that in Toy Story 2, the villain from Buzz Lightyear's universe fell down the elevator shaft and was never seen again. But that doesn't mean he was destroyed, because ever since Toy Story 1, we've known that broken toys just stay broken. They don't die simply because they've been damaged. Zurg is a toy who will probably end up returning to the franchise, since his dream has always been to defeat Buzz and his friends. But what do you think about that? Could the old villains make a comeback?
There's a new video here every day, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date.
Lotso. And speaking of returning villains, there's one who, if he's behind Lily Pad, would make perfect sense in this story. Lotso, the villain from Toy Story 3. This villain used Buzz's instruction manual to recreate the astronauts' memories, which means he understands toy technology and knows how to turn toys against their friends. That's exactly what he did to Buzz, and that could be proof of what happened to Lily Pad. Lotso may have used Lily Pad's manual to recreate the tablet's personality and turn her against the other toys. Could that really be what's happening? It makes complete sense, especially since Lotso is the only villain who truly understands technology. Do you agree with that? Victory. Remember when we said that the only way for the toys to win is if Bonnie discovers that the toys are alive? Well, what if the movie actually ends with Lily Pad winning? That's pretty hard to imagine because it would mean the toys lose their battle against the villain. But maybe that's not the right way to look at the story. Technology is here to stay, and that also means the world is changing, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Lily Pad's victory could mean that the toys are finally free to follow their own paths, just like Woody felt ready to leave Bonnie's house behind. That would definitely be a change from the previous movies, but don't worry because it could actually be a good thing. Paradise. Woody and Bo Peep chose to live on the road, helping lost toys find their way, and that's exactly what could happen to the others. Lily Pad's victory over the toys could mean that not only Bonnie's toys, but toys all around the world find a paradise of their own. And yes, that makes perfect sense. Just imagine how beautiful it would be if the toys realized their mission had been fulfilled, and that children in today's world are simply different now. Molly Davis. Do you remember that Andy had a sister named Molly, right? In the third movie, she was already a teenager and no longer played with toys. But have you ever thought about how interesting it would be if she owned a toy museum? It makes sense because this character always had an interest in Woody, an old-fashioned toy. Molly's return to the movie could be the toy's salvation because she could own a place that welcomes old toys. But it's an idea that would need to be developed slowly because Molly isn't a very well-known character among fans. Unfortunately, she didn't get much screen time, even though she appeared in 3 movies in the franchise. Do you think that could work? Whatever the truth is, we'll find out very soon, with the movie arriving in theaters on June 18th.
We've left 2 videos on your screen so you can choose and keep having fun with us. See you in the next video.